Hello and welcome to Forgotten Clubs of Wrexham, where today we'll be going through some early football history in Ruabon. The first football club in Ruabon was a club by the name of Ruabon Rovers, who were formed in 1872. In 1872, they became Plasmaddoch, and in 1876, they eventually settled on the name Druids. I've already covered Druids in another episode, so I won't be covering them too much today. But the reason I'm here now is that I'm stood by, the building behind me is Wyn Hall. And it could be argued that Wyn Hall is the very beginning of Welsh football, as that is the birthplace of Llywelyn Kenrick. Llywelyn Kenrick founded the Football Association of Wales, but he sometimes also gets credited with forming Druids. This is incorrect, as Kenrick himself acknowledged that Druids were actually formed by the Thompson brothers in 1872. Although Kenrick did have a long association with Druids, he was long-time captain and secretary as well, but he wasn't involved with the foundation of Druids. He was, though, involved with the foundation of another Ruabon club. So in September 1873, a meeting was held at the National School to form a club just by the name of Ruabon Football Club. In November 1873, Ruabon Football Club played their first ever game, which wasn't an inter-club match, against Wrexham, and it was played here at Vicarage Fields. The game was played in torrential rain. Although Ruabon Football Club and Druids were separate, there is some overlap between the clubs. So David Thompson and George Thompson, who were founders of Druids, did play for Ruabon Football Club in their first season. And also we've mentioned Llywelyn Kenrick, who was present at the foundation and was on the committee. So the club also played a friendly at one point against Ruabon Volunteers. Now this is worth mentioning because some secondary sources, it does get stated that Druids were formed when Ruabon Rovers and Ruabon Volunteers merged with each other. This isn't true because Ruabon Volunteers were still active after the proposed merger date. So Ruabon FC did enter the Welsh Cup twice. They entered the first ever Welsh Cup competition. But they were knocked out in the first round by Newtown White Stars after losing 1-0. They also came back the following year and lost 1-0 against Chirk. Their captain during the time during the Welsh Cup was someone by the name of Thomas Burnett. Thomas Burnett also was a Wales international whilst he was a Ruabon player, and he later went on to be the founder of Southport Football Club, and is seen in Southport as a pioneer of football in that area. So another club who played at Vicarage Field was a club by the name of Ruabon Wanderers, and there's another link with Kendrick as well. Ruabon Wanderers, they only played in the Denbighshire Cup, but they had aspirations at one point, which threatened Druids really. So Ruabon Wanderers wanted to recruit players from outside the Ruabon to become a stronger club, which Druids didn't like as they feared it threatened them. So a meeting was held in 1888 at the Wednesday Arms, where it was proposed that Ruabon Wanderers would merge into Druids. But the name Druids was retained as it was the more well-known established name. A person present at this meeting was Llywelyn Kenrick. He was involved with Druids, and sometimes he gets credited to be the club founder. As already mentioned, sometimes it gets reported that Druids were founded when Kenrick decided to merge Ruabon Rovers and Ruabon Volunteers. I think the fact that Druids merged with Ruabon Wanderers later on and Kenrick was there is what gets mixed up in this. So there was numerous other clubs in Ruabon in the pre-war era. Some by the name just Ruabon, some by the name of Ruabon Albion, Ruabon Amateurs, Ruabon Rangers, and Ruabon White Stars. Some of them, the pitch is given as Wednesday Park. Now it's known that there was a pitch behind me. The bypass now cuts through it, so it's no longer there. So that was one pitch at Wednesday Park. But there's also the Wednesday Park, which I covered in the Druids episode as well, which field is still there at least, but it's not a football pitch anymore. It has no sort of semblance of ever being a football pitch. So I'm also not far from the Wednesday Arms in Ruabon, a pub which sometimes gets the misconception again that it was here the Football Association of Wales was founded. It wasn't. It was founded in Wednesday Arms in Wrexham. The Wednesday in Ruabon was used by the FAW for various meetings down the years, but it wasn't involved in the foundation. There is also a misconception that the second meeting to elect FAW council, the first ever council, was at the Wednesday in Ruabon, the meeting in May 1876. But I can't find any evidence for that. So if anyone's got anything to back that up, please do send it over, because I'd love to see it. Because at the moment, all I can find appears to be that it was held at the Lion Hotel in Shrewsbury instead. But yeah, if anyone's got anything primary sources at least to back up the May 1876 meetings or earlier being held in the Wednesday in Ruabon, please do let me know and send it over. But yeah, that's some early pre-war football history in Ruabon. Most of the clubs played in the Welsh Amateur Cup or the Welsh Cup or local leagues at the Wrexham District League. If you're interested, there is a book, Forgotten Clubs of Wrexham, which is available on Amazon. Also in some bookshops, if you ask, they might order it in as well. If you're interested, give it a read. Also, I know there's later clubs that existed after the pre-war period. That's what's covered in the book. Anyone existing later on will be covered in subsequent books, should I get around to writing them, into our Wrexham and so on. Also worth mentioning, whilst I'm in Ruabon, obviously Ruabon being the home village of Mark Hughes, from Wales and Man United striker. But yeah, so if you're interested in football history, Football Clubs of North Wales, thank you for watching.